table, and that has been very beneficial to us all. We have a fellow named Fausto Nolasco from SD6. He is a commercial real estate broker, once again, dealing in law, paperwork, compliance issues. Jan Hendricks is SD7. He's a CPA. Howard Barker, SD18. He also is a CPA. Jim Fulop, SD13. He is a business owner. Doug Markham, SD15, he's an attorney. And Newell Cheatham, SD17, he is a businessman and an architect. So everybody brings different perspectives, different skills, different histories, different knowledge bases to the table. And we put all that together and we examine what's going on in the party. People have knowledge in business, in law, in accounting, and finance. And this is an extraordinary group that I have the privilege to work with. In fact, Ted LeBlanc, I think I see him out there somewhere with all of his talents, humor, skill, and fun, was on our last committee. And though we're sad to lose you, Ted, you've been replaced by a very good man. So we thank you for that. This committee, in fact, only has 3 members that were on it last year. Now, that's not because we wear people out, I don't think. The last term was pretty tough. But we do need that continuity. We also need new blood. And people need to roll off, just like so many other things, so that we can get people looking at the same things we've looked at for years and seeing something that we just might have missed, or seeing something that we need to start taking a look at. I would like to read to you, so you'll know more about what we do, our mission statement. And it is, the primary mission of the Financial Oversight Committee is to inspect the financial records of the party, to determine that the proper accounting controls and procedures are in effect. These records would include, but not be limited to, the books, financial statements, and government reports of the party. Further, the Financial Oversight Committee is charged with the responsibility of determining that the party is in compliance with the applicable government accounting requirements. Finally, the FOC shall prepare a biennial report for the advisory board and the executive committee no later than November 1 in odd number years. Additionally, the Financial Oversight Committee shall report any significant issues which may arise to the advisory board and the executive committee as deemed necessary by the members of the committee. So that's our charge. I kind of think of us maybe as watchdogs. And what do? We watch. We see what people do. We see what they report. And then we take our knowledge base and see if that is what is correct. Our authority comes from the bylaws. Article 8, standing and ad hoc committees, Section 1, committee composition. And specifically, the bylaws say that the FOC shall have the authority to inspect the party's books, records, financial statements, and government reports to determine that proper accounting controls and procedures are in effect, and that the party is in compliance with the applicable government accounting requirements. This is our charge. This is our instructions. The committee shall meet as needed and prepare its biannual report for the advisory committee. So the bylaws tell us what we have to do and give us the authority to do it. Thus, no one in the party has any authority to deny anything that we ask. Now, that's not like we've got all this power. That's like we do have authority, and we don't have the power to do anything to anybody, only to take information to critical and important people. Our agenda we have every month consists primarily, and this will give you an idea of what it is that we do. We look at the reports from the treasurer, which is the financial statements, including an income statement and a balance sheet. We have a year-to-date where we should have monthly information, and we look to see if those numbers roll as they should. We look to see if those numbers look good. We look to see if anything looks out of sort, and we ask for explanations of things that look or might look out of sort. We have a control checklist. We want to know that the bank's accounts have been reconciled, and then this is very critical. As a political party, we have to report what's going on financially to the Federal Election Committee and to the Texas Ethics Commission. And those reports are specifically about where the money comes from, who gave the money, what limits they hit, what we did with the money, how the money was allocated. There's all kinds of rules about what the party can do. There's no fun having rules if we don't have stuff people can break. So the Democrat writes lots of rules and then they get to break them, but we don't. So that's we have to review those reports, see that they tie up, and make sure that if we find anything out of order. For example, our first year I was on there, I found that we got a contribution from Bill Gates. I mean, I'm like, Bill Gates, what is he giving to every party in the country? $5,000 contribution from Bill Gates? It wasn't really from Bill Gates. Here I was almost thinking Microsoft might not be so bad, but we are looking for exactly those kinds of things. We're looking for high party donors that maybe they like to give a lot of money and we appreciate it. But if we don't count it right, if we don't put it in the right classification, we can get them and ourselves in trouble. So these are things we look for. Now we have help. The things that the reports go to companies that specialize in this, and they actually file some of these reports for us. So we have some help there. Have there been mistakes in the past? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, there's mistakes, and there's means of correcting those mistakes as long as they're honest mistakes that that happen. We can get them corrected. We usually don't even receive a penalty for something like that, but we do need to catch them, and that's what we're there for. We do discuss those reports, and then we look at the budget. You know, do we have enough money to keep going month to month? Are we going to need to bring in more money? Do we need to do something with the staff? That's not really our job to hire and fire. We don't do any of that. But we do not want to see the party go into a deficit situation. And so us looking at that kind of helps keep the advisory committee and the chair on their toes. We have examined and looked at and recommended and are somewhat a part of what we call continuity planning. We saw a disaster 4 years ago. When we changed from one chair to the next, there was no continuity, there was no staff carried over, there was no money, and it was something terrible for somebody to walk into, but it's also something that need not have happened. We didn't know where leases were that we were responsible for. People didn't have passwords to get into accounts. It was a mess. So we do not want that to happen to anybody ever again. So we're asking for continuity planning, asking for disaster recovery plans, and backup procedures. All those things that we want to know are going on because that is us being good financial overseers, we believe. I would like to say that at most of our meetings, the treasurer is in attendance. And in most of our meetings, our party chair is in attendance. I'm very happy about that. I'm happy that they want to be open with us. I'm happy that they want to give us any information we want. I'm happy that they are there with explanations for every question we ask. And let me tell you, some of these guys really grill them. They don't seem to mind. They seem to welcome the questions and want everything out in the open. So we have an excellent party leadership. It's an open conversation. Nothing's hidden and nothing's kept back. Or if it is, it's kept back so well that the slyest of our lawyers can't find it yet. So I'm happy and I'm proud of this open relationship with these leaders. Let's see. They keep us to date, and you know what's going on. We got a lot of legal challenges, and we are kept up to date on that. Now, why is that important? Well, legal challenges can go both ways. You know, we want to win. We could lose. Who's paying for it? How much is it going to cost us? Are the challenges going to bankrupt the party? Are there going to be contingencies where if we lose, we're going to pay a ton of money? Are we going to be in big debt to lawyers? And so we want to be on top of those things and make sure that the party's not going down a sinkhole that is neither profitable nor beneficial. So we look at those things. A little bit about, you know, my history with this committee. When I came in, we had and came up with and saw issues that actually led to the resignation of the previous party chair. That's not something anybody wanted. That's something that was necessary. And it didn't have to happen, but it did happen. And the party and the previous chair, everybody ended up doing the right thing. But I'm not sure if the Financial Oversight Committee had not been involved, if these issues would have been brought forward, dealt with, or properly resolved. So I think that the previous committee, the one that rolled off, did a very fine job on that. But I'll tell you, it was tough. It was very, very difficult. In the time that I've been on, we've been through 4 treasurers. That is not continuity. That is terrible. But we've had the same guy now, Duke Millard, for last year and a half, and he's doing a good job. And we're happy to have him. And I think he's one that's going to stick with it. So I'm very happy about that, and the committee's happy about that. Duke is a former federal prosecutor. So he brings that to the table, and then he's also been a business owner, so he knows about the dollars and cents and where they need to go. Like I said before, it's not our job to do the accounting. It's not our job to raise the money. It's not our job to pay the bills or even file the FEC and TEC reports. We have companies to do that. It's our job to be another set of eyes. It's our job basically to be your set of eyes to look at what's going on so that the party is protected. We're not trying to protect any individual. We're not trying to protect the chair, the treasurer. We're not trying to protect any individual in the office or staff. We are trying to make sure that the party does everything right to protect not only the party itself, but the reputation of the party. In politics, at least on our side of the aisle, reputation, the credibility, honesty are very, very important to our voters. They want to know, that we're doing the right thing and doing it the right way. So our job is to try to make sure that that's what's happening. We make necessary recommendations when they're in order, and we do give a report. And as of November, we'll report to the advisory committee for our tenure, and then we will move from there to giving that report probably to the executive committee. Now, if there was a case, and there has been, so we know of something that was going on that was improper, incorrect, I won't say illegal, maybe it was illegal, but I won't say intentionally illegal, then we have to do something about it. We can't go in there and take over the books and start doing the accounting. We can't go back and fix stuff from the past. There are people who have to do that. So we have to exert pressure on the people that are in authority to do that. As I said before, those people respond very well just to recommendations. The past has not always been the case, but we have outlets. The party has an audit every year, and we have an auditor, and he is a very important ally that if we believe something is amiss, we can bring it to that auditor. But before it ever gets there, we would bring it to first the party chair. If we were not satisfied with the party chair, how she responded, then we would go to the advisory committee, which is all USD chairs. And if y'all did not respond properly, then we'd have a really big problem on our hands, wouldn't we? We'd have a rotten, corrupt party. But that's never been the case. The advisory committee is a wonderful committee of people that are committed to our cause, and they always want to do the right thing. And if we can explain things to them in a way that makes sense and show them the legal issues, then they always respond. We do have a relationship with the party's counsel, Ed Hubbard, and have had him do some work for us, answer some questions, take care of some issues. That's what we do. If anybody's still awake, then I'm open to any questions or observations that anybody might have.
I had a question, with the transfer that you're talking about, why it was going so bad, I guess, wasn't there a committee like yours at that time, and shouldn't they have been capturing some of the stuff along the way, or getting ready for it, or seeing it coming?
Well, I think it's a good question. So let me answer it the best I can. The committee is a new committee every 2 years. And so when that new chair came in, you had a new committee as well.
Yeah.
There were some people on the committee that had experience. Now, the committee before, I can't answer for what they were doing, but it may very well be that the people that rolled over from that committee, that was why it was so important to them that we get a little more involved and require the continuity planning, the more of a smooth changeover. However, some other things happened that were out of everybody's control. When I'm just stating facts, and the fact is that when the chair changed, the party's money dried up. We didn't have money to pay staff, so we're not going to have any staff. And that dumps everything on the people that get paid nothing which were the treasurer and the chair. And you had a new chair and a new treasurer, a new financial oversight committee. And so those all made for a very, very difficult situation. But I will say this, with the experience of the people that had previously been on the oversight committee and the people that had been involved with the party, they did a great job of bringing us through those trials, and we did survive. And the party not only has prospered, but I believe right now the party's thriving. So, yeah, bad stuff did happen, but nothing that was catastrophic. I don't know if that answers your question, but it's the best I can do with it.
No, it's okay. Just trying to figure out, why that happened, I guess, and obviously nobody was there, but I mean, we're trying to avoid that from happening in the future, obviously, and I
Exactly.
think that the committee that we have now and your position and as well as the new chair, they're a lot more responsible in making sure that we have somebody putting together, all the various events that put money in the bank and getting us there, I guess.
Well, we hope so. We hope so. But I do know that because we're looking at it, not because we're looking at it, because they know as well as we do, and we are looking at it, that a great deal of this continuity planning is in place. Passwords are secured where people, that the transition can be smoother, and leases and everything's filed where it should be. There's just a lot of things that are happening now that are beneficial. So if we change an entire chair the next time, I do not believe we're going to see the kind of problems that we did this 3 years ago.
Anybody else any questions? Otherwise, I have another one. No? Okay. Uh, any thoughts why you think the Democrats Party has significantly more money, and I would assume that it comes from big donors, the Democrats, and why we don't have any quote unquote big donors that
Okay.
step up?
So I'd love to answer that question. It's not part of our committee work, but I have the same curiosity you do. And you can go find out the same resources that I can. The FEC reports are open to the public. They're online. You can Google it. You can go in there. You can look up our party. And I'll tell you what you'll find, because I have looked at so many of these FEC reports. There's an awful lot of big donors in Harris County. People, some of them you'll know their names, some of you want very, very wealthy people who donate large sums of money to our party. But they also donate large sums of money to individual candidates. And that money is spread out among a lot of people. Those people, I don't know this, but most likely donate large sums of money to the Texas State Party and the RNC. So I was thrilled when I found out how many great and big donors that we have. Now, if you go look at our reports, you'll see that. If you go look at the Democrat Party reports, let me back up a second. What you also see is an awful lot of grassroots support in our party. Lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of small donations. You go to the Democratic side, you go look at their FEC reports, and you'll see not near as many donations. And the ones that are almost look like they are pre-programmed. Okay, all these people give the same amount of money. Where's it coming from? The majority of their money comes from outside of Texas. The vast majority of our money comes from inside Texas. And one thing I like about that is it tells me that Texans do not support their agenda, but money buys a lot of things. And they were able to use outside money to win elections. And we have to keep the money flowing. I mean, our chair is having some great things. I mean, the Lincoln Reagan dinner this year was fabulously successful. It was very popular. We raised over $1 million on that event, the largest ever. She's got some other people coming to speak at various things. And we're doing all kinds of things to raise money, because it takes more than just those big donors. We need a whole lot more. I don't think a whole lot of precinct chairs donate any money. And that's kind of sad. Now, I know precinct chairs are doing hard work, but you know what? Follow the money. People put their money where things value. They put their time there too. So we need to get more people giving just some money. I mean, the 20, 30, 40, $50 a month contributions every single month, that is steady money that keeps our staff employed so that we can raise big money to do big things and never have to worry about the steady money coming every month to make the payroll, to pay the rent, those kind of things. But it's not true that we don't take in a lot of money from wealthy Texans. We do. It's true that the Democrat Party does not take in a lot of money from wealthy Texans. They take it in from outside the state.
I have a question. We used to promote the monthly donations from HCRP. Like precinct chairs were really encouraged to do that. And I really don't see that promoted as much. In fact, Ted and I were talking the other day, and he didn't even know that that was even a program. So where are we promoting that, and how many people are enrolled in the monthly donations?
Okay, so let me try to address that as best I can. And let me first say that I'm just going to remind you that we're not that committee. Okay, there is a committee for that, but with conversations and some interaction, I'm going to say that I believe that the former chair of that committee was a very good guy. He did not see small donations as significant to the party at all. He is kind of a big money guy, and he did bring in a lot of big money to our party. He's no longer the chair. That's not the reason. I don't really know. He resigned that position, and we have another chair. It's my understanding, I went on the committee, it's my understanding that particular gentleman didn't even really involve or use the committee in fundraisings. He just did it because he knew many wealthy people. Now, I'm not trying to run down anything. That's his style, and he could do that. And what he did was very beneficial to the party. But the committee that is in charge of the fundraising, I think now has a different chair. And I think they're taking a little bit of a different look at it. And they are taking in some suggestions. I'll also say at our last committee meeting that one of our members was making some suggestions. And Vanessa Ingracia, who is our whatever she is down there at the office, she runs the place. She was taking notes. She has ideas. And even though she's not on that committee, she's a very active person. And so she's wanting to help that committee and get involved by bringing in more smaller donations. As with regard to the small donations, we had 20 for 20 and we had 22 for 22. I remember signing up for 20 for 20 and I thought, I didn't know that was a lifetime commitment. They still take it out. I don't care, but they still do. Then they did 22 for 22. So now they take that out. They've got another program. You don't hear enough about it. I agree with you. We don't hear enough about it. I will say that there's a lot of other business that goes on that perhaps people in their view believe that takes precedent. But I'll also say that it may very well be that politicians sometimes feel like preachers. They just don't like to harp on money because that turns people off. And maybe they need to do a little bit better job of saying, folks, if we don't get the money, we don't win races. And I know there's a lot of other factors, but money buys an awful lot of things. So I agree with you. We need to focus a lot on smaller donations, but we cannot survive and would not have survived without the large ones.
Well, what we used to do in the is that the people who did give the monthly donations, we all had early access to tables and stuff at the Lincoln Reagan dinner. We had early access to the state convention. We had a special website for the state convention. And I actually think if we gave above a certain amount per month, we got a free ticket to the Lincoln Reagan dinner, if I'm not right. But we only could get one, which was funny because everybody always brings a guest. Right. So it was really a really good thing. So I think some of those things, if we brought them back, I mean, the fact that some people don't even know that are very active in our party that this is even a thing. And it's a little bit different giving it to a candidate versus the party. Like I know candidates, they hate fundraising, for the most part. They want to do good and everything. But, the party is responsible for running the elections and getting out the vote. And that's something right now that many people are motivated to invest in, is to get out the vote. So
I
I think
agree with you.
we really have a win here.
Yeah, I
But
agree
that's
with
not
you.
your-
But what you need to do is relay the exact things you said to that the chair of that committee, as well as the party chair. Now, I'm gonna say this, and you need to know that the job that Cindy's doing right now, she's getting a little help, and she's got some people that have come
She's
in
amazing.
to
Yeah.
well, but let me say this. I don't know how she does it, but she is so inundated with these lawsuits that, I mean, she's being deposed, she's testifying, excuse me, and I don't know how she has time to be chair. And she has realized that she is taking too much of her time, and she's getting some help. But my point is, maybe not her, but just go directly to that committee and tell them the exact things that you told me, or send them an email and ask them for a response. Now, what you may hear is we're meeting and we're talking about doing that, and we're talking about some plans and working with Vanessa and the chair and the treasurer to do some of this stuff, because I know they are working. But I agree with you. Those were benefits that we should have, that we did, that encourage people to give. But people get disappointed. They don't see their money doing what they want. They don't see their money going where they want. And then they say, well, you know what? I'll just direct my money where I want it to go. And that doesn't mean that people that aren't given to the party aren't given. I mean, honestly, until I was involved with the party, I didn't want to give my money to the party because I didn't trust what they did with it. I wanted to give it to the candidates that I trusted, the candidates that I wanted. And, I'm sure a lot of people feel that way. So the party has to win people's trust, and the party needs to do a good job of letting people know how important it is that you give to the party and what we do with that money. So it's a big process, but there is a committee for that. And I don't know, I couldn't name one person on that committee. But if you will find those people and talk to all the committee members, send them emails, send it to the chair, and maybe get some of the other precinct chairs in your SD and even outside your SD to send similar emails, I think you'll get their attention.
Which committee are you referring to? There's the financial, the candidates, the
No,
ballot.
I'm talking about the committee that raises money. I'm not familiar with their
I'm
name.
looking at all the committees. There's a financial oversight, which is due to ballot security, the candidates, financial development, judicial screening, local government engagement, military vacancy, training and development rules. Those are the committees.
It's probably financial development.
That would be it. I'm pretty sure, but I'm not familiar with all those names.
Okay.
We nominate Ted to do that.
Ted
Go
would do a
ahead,
great
go
job
ahead.
because he cares about the money.
Go ahead, Karen.
We nominate Ted to take our ideas forward.
Well, I was going to suggest, what's your opinion on, these donors giving money to the candidates as opposed to giving them to HCRP? You think it'd be better money spent with HCRP? I mean, there was, in the last financial report I saw, one of the committees, they had spent over $500,000 to all the judges. 80% of those judges didn't even block walk. They didn't do anything. They lost. There was money thrown basically in the basket. I mean, what if we had used that money as opposed to putting it back at HCRP or getting some money and back into committees, and you could have done something else with it.
So there's two different purposes. Are you asking me or are you asking him?
No, I was asking David.
Well, the judges' deal is a little bit different than the rest of the candidates. And I couldn't explain to you all the differences, but how their money comes, where it goes, what comes from the party, and what the party does with regard to that is handled very, very differently because they are judges, for one thing. And they, I think, raise a lot of their own money. And, and I know a lot of them didn't do block walk. But they don't have the kind of funds that others do. And so a lot of them cooperated together and did events where multiple judges showed up to speak. So, they did the best they could with the judges. And you're right, we didn't get a whole lot out of that election. I think your original question was what I think about people giving money to candidates versus the party. And I think that's going to be an individual choice. I believe now I give money to the party. But before I was involved with the party, not knowing what was going on, not knowing anything, how it worked, not knowing, how important it was, I only gave money to candidates. So I think education of the electorate is very, very important. Many people look at the candidates, I'm sorry, the elected officials that we have and scream about being sold out, scream about rhinos, scream about people that are calling themselves Republicans and voting against things that we stand for. And they say, I'm not giving money to the party because that's the party. But that's not, that's a candidate. And a lot of people, even in politics, don't understand some of the issues with politics as to, I don't support this guy, but I have to do this in order to get any ability to do anything when I'm up in the house or wherever it is that I'm trying to work. And if I don't support it, then I just lose out and my people lose out. So, there's a lot of politics in that, and people don't quite all approve of what goes on there. I don't approve of it, and I don't want to be a politician because I'm more of a purist. But people look at that and they say, I'm not giving money to the party. I'm giving money to this guy because I know him, I like him, I believe in him. He'll do the right thing. So it's all a matter of PR. We have to raise awareness. And I will say that I have said this many times, and I've seen the party start to do this on occasion. We got to stand up to these guys, and I'll call a name here, like Doug Phelan, who sell us out to finance and promote, but promote their agenda and their power and their base. And they sell us out Democrats because Doug Phelan is the Republican Party in the House. He is, he's the speaker. And yet even the RPT came out with a letter saying, we got to get rid of this guy. So if we don't start taking stands like that, we're not going to win the confidence of the people that do the voting, do the work, and give the money. So that was not part of what the FOC does, but you asked.
Okay. Karen, did you have a thought on that? I think you did. Any other questions from anybody?
Well, I hope I didn't make any enemies just now.
Thank you very much for your time, David. Really appreciate you
Thank
taking
you,
the
Javier. I
time
appreciate it.
to talk to us today. At this point, I'd like to open it up to any other topics of discussion. If anybody wants to bring anything else up. Next week, we do have Russ Long. Going to give us activities and strategic goals of the vacancy committee, and kind of giving us an update what's going on with the vacancies and all the precinct chairs and all that stuff. So that should be another good Zoom call for next week. I'm also going to discuss with Ted if we can open it up to the other SD districts, Senate District 17, all the other ones, until we can invite more people to participate in our Zoom call. Right now, we're kind of limiting it to SD4 and captains and things like that. So I'll try to maybe we can open it up a little bit more next week. Anything else anybody wants to say?
I just want to remind everybody, tomorrow's the debate watch party for KRW. And while that might not be, that would be a great way to start getting people to volunteer. It's just inviting people out to events like that. I know last week I invited a couple people that were not conservatives to Coffee with Crenshaw. And they left, and they're willing to want to get involved in the Republican Party. So bringing some people out to that to meet other conservatives and not realizing that they might be like-minded would be great. But also, if they don't want to go all the way to Atascocita, invite them over to your house and offer them a glass of wine and make put out an appetizer tray and watch the debate together, because I think that's the way to start getting people involved.
Absolutely. Where's the meeting at, Karen?
At the barbecue place on 1960 Spring Creek.
1960
barbecue.
It starts at 7, but I think the debate starts at 8.
Barn, is there a flyer for that?
Yeah, do you want me to send it to you? I think I got it. I don't know how I got it, but I'll find it and send it to you, because you sending it out would be super helpful.
Be glad
Oh,
to.
good. Yeah, if you can copy me on that, I appreciate that as well.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, I can send it out to
Thank
all
you
the
for
other
everything
people.
you do.
Okay. Anything else, guys? Okay, then
I would
we'll,
just like to thank you all for your time and your patience and your questions. And if you do have any questions or want anything from the FFOC, everyone, you have a representative on the committee, but you also have the rest of us you can talk to, and we're more than happy to talk to you. Thank you, Javier. Appreciate you all.
Thanks so
appreciate it.
much for what you do. You keep us out of trouble. All those reports are a pain in the neck.
Right,
Yes,
Bart.
ma'am.
Candidate.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very
I
much.
would not want your job.
Okay. All right, well, thanks again, everybody. We'll see you guys next week unless there's anything else. One last chance. Okay, we'll see you guys next week. Thanks again.
Mhm.